Hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
That's a very low sound of voice after heavy lunch, I guess. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you, Geeta, and thank you, Dr. Kaushik and Manda ma'am especially. I think the team here has been absolutely wonderful in having us. We had a session some time back also with the students, and it was absolutely wonderful to be at Shankara. So about me and what we do at Rampmine City, I'll take you a few years back, May 29th, 2014. As a person in his mid-20s, I was living my life and living it pretty well. I had a successful career. I was traveling all over the world. I was having great family, good social circle, and pretty much doing everything that a guy in his mid-20s would dream of. 24 hours later, on May 30th, 2014, a bad fall in an under construction building, and I was introduced to my new life, the life after a spinal cord injury, a life of no motor movement or complete paralysis below the waist, a life where various other bodily functions completely went haywire because of a nervous system damage, a life where I became wheelchair dependent in a country which had accessibility issues, where I was seen only as a patient, friends no longer spoke to me, people pitied me, and getting rejected became a way of living. And a life where a lot of people thought that death would be an easier option than to go through any of this. But I decided I will fight it and I will change it. All of it, every bit of it. Hello everyone, my name is Prateek Khandelwal and this is my story. "15 months down the line in 2015, sitting in the dark corner of my room, having lost everything that I could possibly think of, the only question that my naked soul asked myself is, who do I want to be, or what do I want my life to be? And the only answer that came was fantastic. Hence, started building our fantastic life. First, I wanted to improve physically. I understood that there was paralysis, there was a spinal cord injury, but I wanted to show improvements and work in the direction of showing greater mobility, to be able to carry out my day-to-day functions by myself, not be dependent on anybody else, lead a very independent life. And that is when I started doing rigorous physiotherapy for the next 3 years, and there are very talented physiotherapists under whom I realized that my long-term goal of walking has to be broken down into short-term goals of recovery, because my nervous system and my internal body damages have to all relearn the whole art of walking. Well, the results were evident soon in 2017 around. I started doing those everyday things that all of you do, like just getting up and going to a supermarket, or going to shop somewhere in a mall, or attending a friend's wedding, or just cooking myself a meal, all by myself with the help of a crutch or a walker. And by that time I realized that yes, recovery is happening, but it is a slow process. I have to be at it. I have to be at it continuously. I have to continuously keep on working out, probably through my life. I don't know how long, but I have to be at it. And I said, okay, fine. And I realized that wheelchair was going to be a part of my life. So I said, okay, fine. I am improving. In the meantime, I'm using the wheelchair. So what? I was still an ambitious person. I'm very career oriented. I still wanted to go out. I still wanted to travel. I still wanted to go for a meal with my friends, my family. And why not? Why should a wheelchair stop it? And hence I started going out more to be able to be part of society again, because person with disabilities, they face this social exclusion. People don't know how to talk to them. They themselves think they're not acceptable to society, and that barrier had to be broken that people have towards person with disabilities. And I thought the way to do it is to reach out to my friends, reach out to my people and say, hey, let's go out. Come, let's catch up. Let's go for a movie. Let's go eat something. Let's go for a drive. Let's do all these things. But that is where the bigger problem started. When I started going out, I realized I could not go out anywhere because of the huge problem of inaccessibility that India has. And I started right from my home. I stay in a building by a very prestigious builder. The entry to my tower is not accessible. Then the transport system totally in India is not accessible. And if you want to go to a bank, a public park, a police station, an ATM, a railway station, an airport, you name it, and even hospitals and clinics, they are not accessible. And that was such a big shock to me because I have been leading the life on the other side. I did not know that such a huge problem in India exists. And that came as a very rude shock to me. I said, wow, like person with disabilities actually, if I have something, nobody can go anywhere. And why only person with disabilities? There are people who have temporary injuries. There are people who are elderly, who will need some kind of assistance some time of their life. There's so many people who actually need assistance, right? So the next question was that, so how many people are there in India who actually face this kind of a lockdown? This is the real lockdown. Just because 2, 3, 4 weeks of COVID and we were stuck at home, all of us went through those anxiety and depression and mental health, whatever, forget about it, people. The real lockdown is being faced by a population of 140 million people. And that is being a conservative number. According to the WHO and World Bank, every country's 15% population faces some kind of a disability. India at today 1.5 billion into 15%, the number crosses 200 million. So even taking a conservative approach, because I'm a Marwari, always confused with my numbers, but still, even at that, 150 million, 120 to 150 million people in India are facing some kind of disability. Comparatively to other countries, if you say UK or if you take up Italy, their total population, the charts that you see here, the total population, not only the disabled population, able plus disabled, is 60 to 70 million. India's only disabled population is double the size of those countries. And that is a pretty huge number. And the next question was, so what is the government doing about it? And aren't there any standards? Aren't there any guidelines that we follow for the inclusion of such people? Well, the government has brought out certain guidelines. There is Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act, there is National Building Code, there are couple of other documents that you can always refer to build a building which is more accessible for everybody. And when I'm talking about buildings, I'm also talking about hospitals here, and I will come to it. So there are guidelines, but here is the thing, nobody is really enforcing them. It is in the law, but the government doesn't care too much. The people on ground, the architects, the civil engineers, the admin team, the facilities, they are very symbolic with it, with their implementation. Still, there's a huge gap in what is there in the law or how the space should be accessible and what is implemented on ground. There's a huge gap. And we thought that is the major problem, that what is put in the law and what is done on the ground is completely different. And that is where the real problem is. Now at that point, realizing this is the ground reality, there were two options in front of us. And that is either we can become an activist, sit and cry and crib and complain, write to media houses, saying, oh my God, look at the government, nothing doing. Or see it as the biggest opportunity of our lives and build a company which can actually provide those solutions, which is lagging in our ecosystem. And hence started Ramp My City. So Ramp My City in 2018 we started, where we said we will provide those infrastructural solutions to across verticals, where we can come up with simple professional solutions where people where we break the narrative that being accessible to person with disabilities is a big bang change. People usually think that, oh my God, to be accessible I have to probably get down my wall or my building, or it's a huge cost expenditure, or I don't know if I'm going to do it, or if they have done it, they only say lagaya hua hai na, ramp lagaya hua hai, what is there? They don't understand the dynamics behind it, they don't understand the standards behind it, and we wanted to change all of that. And that is where we started in 2018-19, that let's start with Ramp My City. And the first product we got was ramps in the market, and that was, let us bring out metallic aluminum ramps where no civil or structural change is done at the site, but something is made at the workshop and just installed at the location, right? When we came out with that approach, we saw a lot of people opening up to it and a lot of verticals opening up to it, and that is where we started scaling, right from cafes, restaurants, public parks, schools, hospitals, ATM, bank, everybody. Under Ramp My City, we saw a lot of growth under Ramp My City. For as you can see, the ramp here is, we did not do any civil change here. It was a ramp which is very adjustable that we got here and just placed it here. So that was the growth that Ramp My City started seeing 2019, and through COVID also, come COVID, nothing stopped us, because I think during COVID we ramped maximum number of PHCs, public health centers, where actually the vaccination was being given. That is what the work we took up. And few of feathers that I like to talk to you about. So who's from Bangalore here? Bangaloreans. So which is the most popular street of Bangalore?
Commercial Street. Commercial Street.
MG Road.
Brigade Road, Commercial.
Church Street.
Church Street. Yeah.
So Church Street has been made completely accessible by Ramp My City. It is one of the most wheelchair friendly streets of India. Is it from It's okay. If we get further distance, then yeah. So Church Street is one of the most wheelchair friendly streets now, because right from banks, ATMs, restaurants, malls, everything on that street is made completely accessible by us, making it one of the most wheelchair friendly streets of India. We did not stop there. The government coming in collaboration with the government, with MP Devi Surya, Ashwath Narayan, and now with Dr. D.K. Shiv Kumar, we are working with the government at huge scale, where police stations, public parks, libraries, the police stations, PHCs, public health centers, everything under it in Bangalore has been made accessible, making Bangalore, if not the most, but one of the most wheelchair friendly cities of India. And I think I'd like to give credit to all the stakeholders for being with us doing it. Of course, scaled up north also to Delhi, Gurgaon, and everywhere. The Ramp My City is scaling very quickly. And this is one of the videos of my journey that will give you a gist of from where to where I've just told you right now. Can you play that from that? Yeah, just play button. The audio is not there. That is the mantra that we always stand by. Be a part of the solution, be the solution. Because it is only solutions that bring revolutions. And that is the mantra that I always tell my team to follow. Now coming to the other aspects of accessibility and how can we be more accessible in our building and design. So Ramp My City doesn't only do ramps, we started with doing end-to-end infra audits, retrofitting solutions, implementation support in order to make a building accessible in totality. So that when a person with disability comes at your campus, he or she or they don't face any barriers in the built environment. Now let us start taking an example of a hospital. Okay, we are sitting here, we all are sitting here today, and let us take example of visiting patients are patients with low vision or no vision. Right? These two. I'm going to make it very specific. Low vision, no vision at Shankara Eye Hospital. Okay? Let's keep it very specific. So where do you think the accessibility starts from them? If they come to your hospital, what is the first point that they will want to be accessible? Anybody? Where will it start from?
They need to get down from the public transport.
Drop off point. You can give them.
They need to get down from the public transport and they need to move to the hospital.
Right. So they need a drop off point.
Drop off.
Drop off point. They need a dedicated drop off point. Usually, a lot of times we see there are drop off point marks with a wheelchair sign, right? Drop off, right? And some people can also be assisted with a family member where they're carrying their own vehicle,
On.
right? And in that case, then what do we need? A dedicated parking spot, which is near to the entrance, not too far from the entrance. Imagine we are talking about a person with low vision or no vision. Okay. So number one, great ma'am. Thank you for your answer. So the next one. Okay. Now the person has got down. Now what? What next? The parking spot or drop-off spot is here. That is the building. So now what do I need next? What do I need next? I need help for sure all the time. But how will I reach from here to there?
I need a dedicated person to assist me.
Okay. Okay, so let's see, for example, I am on that side. Suppose I'm here, sorry. I need a dedicated person. Okay, there's an assistance that you need that is different. But don't I need an accessible route to reach the building actually? What will the person do if there are barriers on the way? Suppose there are steps on the way leading to the hospital, or there are gamlas that you think for aesthetics you keep. Now somebody is having a low vision, he needs a barrier-free way to reach the hospital entrance, right? From the parking point to the entrance of the hospital. So that means you need a clear passageway, a clear accessible route to reach the hospital entrance, correct? Okay, now I have reached the hospital entrance. Now what do I need? What do I need next? So it's very simple. It's nothing, it's not rocket science, we are not building a Chandrayaan. So it's very simple, just put logic into it. What do I need when I reach the hospital entrance?
You need to navigate to the access the different.
Need to enter the hospital.
There is a steps near the entrance. You need a
That is a very good thing, sorry. And you were saying?
near the entrance. Is there any
Accessible
steps?
entrance.
Is there any steps, sir? You need ramp.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing I need is an accessible entrance. But a lot of times also happens is that at the parking, at the access route, sometimes I don't know where the entrance is. It happens. First time coming to the hospital, I don't know where to go from. I park my vehicle, I don't know where to go. Then that time, signages always help. Go right, go left, that way. Directional signages that directs you towards the hospital entrance. Now while reaching the hospital entrance, I need an accessible entrance in terms of a ramp. Sometimes there is a straight entry that you can take. Okay, so that I need. Now just while entering the hospital, I have come up the ramp and right as I enter, I see what do I see? A glass door. Okay. Then as a person with low vision, what do I need?
Someone to open the door and you can move inside easily.
Okay. Why do I always need someone? Let's make it independent.
A warning that is a glass door.
These are automatic or warning that there is
Yeah, there's a warning.
some sort of warning.
The first is I need to identify that glass door. I'm a person with low vision. How many of you have banged your head into a glass door? People with full vision. And what are people with low vision? You'll bang into the door.
They need to, again, just like how the accessibility, they need a separate accessibility to the hospital.
No, you can have a glass door, you can have manifestations on the glass door where they are clearly recognizable. That there is a glass door here where you can put stickers or something like that, which makes sure, which tells them that this is a glass door and you should not hit into it. Okay, apart from that, as soon as I reach near to the glass door, what else do I need if I'm sitting on the wheelchair? Is it heavy? The glass door can be heavy. Can it be heavy? Can it be difficult for me to pull it? Then I need an automatic sliding door. Okay, great. Have you also guys ever thought about tactile guiding paths? Who has heard of it? What is it for?
Along the railway station, the railway platform, the last line near the edge, there are tactile tiles so that someone using a stick knows that is at the edge.
Okay, those are warning strips. But usually tactile guiding paths are used. They are a strip of tiles that is used to guide your way from your exterior environment to interior environment. So anybody carrying a stick, or anybody having a low vision can just follow that path of tile and can just navigate inside the hospital wherever they want to. It is a civil intervention, but that is the most perfect manifestation of accessibility for persons with low vision or no vision. Okay, now I've entered the hospital and my doctor sits on the floor above, okay, on the first floor, and I'm a person with no vision or low vision. So I enter the lift, and imagine it's a hospital of 10 floors and there are many other people who have entered the lift with me. Okay, everybody has pressed their numbers and I am somebody who suffers from no vision. Now the lift is going. I am not able to get out to the correct floor. Why do you think can be there? What can be the reason?
No audio.
Is there audio announcement system in the lifts of Shankara? Have you checked it? Braille will tell you the floor to go to, but if there are multiple people going to multiple floors, how will you identify your floor?
Liftman.
We need an audio announcement system inside the lift. It is so important, otherwise you will never come to know which floor are you on. Such a simple measure, but we miss it. Then I've done and now I'm inside the doctor's room. And he has to check my eye. So now think of the instrument and tell me, as a person, suppose I'm sitting in the wheelchair wanting to get my eye checked. Is the instrument, the table, is it friendly? There has to be certain depth below the table, clear depth, so that I can properly go near the instrument, put my chin on the instrument. But then, have we checked our systems? Is there that room available for the instrument? Who said this? We will do an activity soon. So that is what I need. And now the checkup is done, and now I have to come down. Okay, and there is no, supposedly the elevator is busy and I have to take the steps. Okay. Now what is the problem I can face at steps? What is the problem I can face at steps?
Don't know where the step starts.
Okay, great. So how do you identify where the step starts? Or where does it end? The edge of the step. Remember low vision? End of the step. How do I demarcate it? Strip. There has to be a color contrasting strip on the edge of every step, which demarcates one step from the other, so that I do not take a false step and I do not miss or skip step, because that will lead to accident and me falling down. Right? So all of these are actually very simple measures. None of them is rocket science. You know what is missing in them? Logic and awareness. That how can we be much better at accessibility for persons with disabilities. So I hope I have shared a few examples of how at Shankara we can be much better at accessibility. Now I think after this is done, I would want to shift to our next session, that is doing some activities with you people, okay, and which will tell you of how actually it is, what are the barriers a person with a disability can face in live environment, okay, and we call these immersive activities. It is called in your shoes, okay. So whatever we are going to do is we are going to, the first activity that we are going to do is, we are going to give a wheelchair immersive experience. That means we'll make some of you sit on the wheelchair and just do those everyday things that you do in your life while coming up. There are some wheelchairs we have kept near the elevator. You have to do those, just do things. Go up the ramp. There are some tables. Try to eat something from the table. Go get yourself checked. Just the normal things, but while sitting on the wheelchair. Okay, that's it. We are just changing how you go about it. Okay, and that's it. And after that finishes, we'll take your feedbacks on how did you feel being on the other side, even if it's for a few minutes. Okay? Okay, then let's go for our first session.
So we have 4 teams, right? 4 teams.
I need 9 plus 9. I need 18 people in total, and the rest can be audience.
For the first activity.
For the first activity, I need 18 people.
Total 4 activities. 4 activities total.
No, one push from the this rod. Yes, use that. Yes. Yeah, you can. 2 people can come. Go for it. Yeah. Just don't just be behind him.
One of us because it go here. It's easy to go there.
Okay, one by one. You can take her here. Center. अभी छोड़ो. पीछे रहो बस.
The gradient. And
Let them continue. Yeah.
and also probably
A handrail.
handrail.
Perfect. We can talk about this while you take inside now. Manna.
I'll show it.
I'll show. Just show. You can take her inside to the table. How was the experience, sir? What did you find challenging?
Of course, but this was very steep. But at the same time, I think you definitely need physical strength also to
Upper
do
body
your
strength.
upper body
But a
strength.
lot of people will not have upper body strength.
Yeah,
then
and that when you don't have them, it's a real challenge because if the ramp is not user friendly,
yeah.
then even though you have ramp, it will be of no much use for the person with disability.
Absolutely. So ramp as per standard should be made, which can actually people can do independently.
Yes.
This is a steeper ramp.
This is steeper ramp.
Okay,
yeah.
let's go inside.
Thank you.
The buddy. Leave her. Let her do. Ma'am, when he removes his hand, you will not. Let's see. He's behind you. You're safe. Even that will be a little difficult while going down. Okay, push her up. And you can take her to the... just guide them the way to go into that room. There should be some stopper so that wheel cannot... Backwards, there are in this wheelchair it's not there, otherwise there are anti-trippers, which will, if it does the wheel, it will stop it. Okay, I'll go to this inside. उस टेबल में क्या हो रहा है?
प्राजक्ता मॅडम भारतीने काही गडबड केली असेल ना, बेस्ट चान्स आहे.
And what was the experience like? And what did you feel?
I can't able to move.
You cannot able to move. You think it was
High.
It was steep. So if we give you a ramp, a bigger ramp with lesser gradient, will you be able to do it?
I don't know with this ramp I can able to move.
You're not able to. Okay. Okay. Let's go inside. Sir.
I'm not pushing.
सर का बाइसेप अच्छा है
नहीं वो भी छोड़ दीजिए, हाथ भी छोड़ दीजिए, अभी तो आ गए ऊपर ऐसे। He's behind you, he's behind you.
इसमें ट्राइसेप्स यूज हो रहा है ट्राइसेप्स
Sorry.
What can change?
I feel, see, there is a lot of hand coordination needed in this. And the only one thing which I can say is like, you need to embrace the small things what you have. And it's having a healthy body is, it's a blessing rather than something. So
how can we make it more independent? Right now
the challenge was the steepness of this ramp.
Yeah.
And it was not that the person who has a low body weakness will have a tough time using the ramp using a wheelchair independently basically. So
it's not just about having a ramp, it is having the correct ramp.
And it was not scientifically how it should be.
Yes.
It need to be in that order.
It's not a scientific ramp.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, inside please.
Thank you.
The soup is hot, and you have to, one time you may be able to do it, but think on an everyday basis, the challenge behind it. So do you feel if I keep the table there, the table, right? And that is the way to do it by increasing your table depth. Yeah, that's the same thing. Eventually you are increasing the depth. When you increase the top surface also, the depth is increasing. Right? So table depth, that is how it handles table depth. Okay, now we will switch the body becomes the user.
First, as an examiner. Yes.
थोड़ा जरूर लेना। आपने तो वो कहाँ आपका? फिर भी नहीं हो रहा ना? कर लो पास ले लो। हाँ, चेंज आएगा। नहीं, so I cannot get my eyes checked. I cannot get my eyes checked. Okay? Okay, that's it. हो गया इसमें. See, you are making adjustments to the wheelchair. A lot of people with disability will not make those adjustments to their wheelchair. It is what it is. आपने पाँव बाहर कर लिए, आपने पूरा कोशिश कर लिया. But eyes check तो भी नहीं हुई. और अगर कोई डॉक्टर है जो व्हीलचेयर यूज कर रहा है वो नहीं कर पाया, तो क्या चेंज होना चाहिए सकते
The
stand that has to be more wheelchair friendly. तो अगर मेरे को आई का चेकअप करवाना है तो मैं कैसे आऊँ शंकर हॉस्पिटल में? How do I come here to get my eyes checked? नहीं हो सकती मेरी आईज चेक, मतलब लेंस कट वाले घर बुलाना पड़ेगा मुझे. Okay, that's it.
Going in the up in the ramp and I had severe pain and I could not go further.
Okay, so what can be better there?
Go
to the gym. The gradient of the ramp?
Yeah, and the wheel also can be.
The wheel?
The wheel was not smooth.
No, so it's not the problem with the wheel.
The height.
It is the height.
Height.
It is the height. So a certain good measure this ramp is of course the gradient that we always follow, and that is in scientific terms it's called 1:12 or 1:15 if the height is more. So ramp is always a function of height is to slope. So if suppose for example your height is 1 feet, then your length, the hypotenuse, the length of the ramp, the slope of the ramp should be 12 times the height. So if 1 feet height of the steps, 12 feet height of the ramp with railings on both the sides, so that a person who wants to push themselves holding the railing and all those things, even they can do that, right? Yeah. And then when we went inside in the table, there's a certain distance that you were sitting from the table, right? Who was at the table trying to drink soup? Okay. Shruti, can you tell your experience?
Yeah, on a daily basis, it would be really difficult because the plate was very far away, so you can't bend. So it would be good if there was some means wherein you could, that space, as you said, was there. So the bowl is directly in front of you, so you don't have to bend down, and then there's no fear of it spilling.
Right, absolutely. Okay, and who was, yeah, please.
I just want to ask, is there a standardization for wheelchairs as well? Like, I'm not very sure, like, is there a cross standardization? Because all these things can be implemented only if the wheelchairs are standard, like height or something.
Yeah, there is a standard kind of wheelchairs available which is prescribed by the government itself, and also there are two kind of wheelchairs. One is called an active wheelchair, one is called a passive wheelchair. So in an active wheelchair, the difference between active and passive wheelchair is, in the passive wheelchair, can we have one of those wheelchairs here? एक wheelchair लेके आओ, one एक wheelchair, single. So in a passive wheelchair, what happens is, if you sit on the passive wheelchair, you all are sitting on the passive wheelchair, you see the wheelchair more than the person. But when you sit on an active wheelchair, which is customized as per the body type, you see the person more than the wheelchair. So in one you see the wheelchair more than the person, in the other you see the person more than the wheelchair. Because the active one is customized to your body type, where you can do a lot of customization with the height of the armrest, with the detachable thing, like in this everything comes off. The armrest will come off, the footrest will come off, the wheels will come off. So all these standard is available, but of course these are more expensive ones and a lot of people will not be able to afford it. Usually what we find in hospitals are these. These are what we find in hospitals. Come sir. Him. Yeah. So do you see a difference between passive and active wheelchairs? Here you see the wheelchair more because it's a standard wheelchair which is supposed to be pushed by somebody else, versus the active wheelchair which is pretty independent. I can use it in my daily life. Want to go anywhere, I use this. But in hospitals and hotels and airports and everywhere you get this kind of wheelchair, obviously because they don't understand what active and passive is, they go by the cost factor. So that is why you will see these more at any public utility. Thanks. So we saw a few examples of infrastructure in the limited space that we have there. But yeah, a lot of it that what we do as a part of making workplaces more accessible, right from parkings to cubicles to common facilities. If I want to drink water, suppose we spoke about height right now. Suppose I want to get myself a glass of water as a wheelchair user. The height, you see if it's too high, people who sat in the wheelchair, you must be knowing by now. If it's too high, I cannot reach the RO, right? Or if I want to wash my hands, hand wash, if again there is if the sink is touching my knee, it's not enough depth, then again I will not be able to reach to wash my hands. So all these things we've been doing with hotels, with workplaces, with residential societies, with metros. We are working with the metros now. Those are latest clients where we're designing our new metros that are coming up. Date mat puchega mere se kab ho raha hai. So I don't know. And yeah, designing streets and the smart cities. These are all establishments that we have been talking about, but footpaths and all also not accessible at all. And I think that is what Rahmat City is also working with the government to make smart cities actually smart. So all this is the infra changes, but I think a lot of it has to do with your attitudes also. I'll come to this part a little later. We'll shift to one more activity, which and it is called In Your Shoes, blindfolded. So, how it is to be a visually impaired person, what is the kind of direction and navigation that you will need if I blindfold you and if I ask you to go from point A to point B in an environment that is out there, will you be able to go? Don't worry, I am not asking you to go independently. We will all assign you a buddy. But something about it. Are there any doctors here sitting here? Okay, can you please? We would love to know more about some kind of visual impairments. If you can tell quickly on. These are some of the words I picked from Google. I myself might not be very good at it. So, if somebody can talk about visual impairments or blindness. Anybody?
Night blindness is actually it's a genetic disease. They cannot see in the evening, and as it progresses, the central vision also goes. And blurred vision and peripheral vision there are many causes. The central vision, loss of central vision only due to glaucoma. Glaucoma patients can have loss of central vision, and color blindness is also a genetic.
Okay. So basically, it's when you are not able to see things properly or in its entirety. That I think is to do with visual impairment. Now, I just spoke about something. What is the problem here in this kind of steps? It's already the answer is given there, but still, if you see just in the picture, what is the problem here?
Visibility.
And going down the steps, people with low vision, it is very possible they miss the ending of these steps, isn't it? You see all the black granites, all the color matching, they're all camouflaged. So for people with low vision, they may not be able to see or identify the edge of the steps. And that is where the step marking comes in. See, the same thing, but look at the difference. Right? Where you mark the steps and you know the ending of the steps, so that when you have to go down as a person with low vision, you can actually go down, you can just identify where the boundary of the step is without missing any step or causing any accident. So that's how a simple tape placed on the edge of the step can make a huge difference. So now we'll be going for an exercise which is blindfolded group exercise. It's pretty simple. Some of you will be going to point A, which is near the lift. Some of you will be going to point B, which is where we ended the wheelchair exercise. Half of you will be blindfolded and the other half will become your buddies. And the same on this side. And it's very simple. The buddy has to take you from point A to point B. You will be holding on to their arms. They will take you from point A to point B, and there's a way you talk to a person, you navigate with them, you direct them how to go, where the obstacles, where's the turn, how to go about it over the ramp or something. So we'll do that. Let's see a video. What are the best practices to take a person with low vision or vision impairment from point A to point B? Play this. So volume.
So it's important to say hello before you touch them in any way. If it's the first time you've met the client, then ask politely if they would like to be guided. Not all people with a vision impairment need help in getting around, so please don't be offended if your offer is not accepted. If the person is sitting down before you set off, encourage them to stand up independently. Avoid them taking your arm first and using it to pull themselves up. Offer your arm for the visually impaired person to grip just above the elbow, or the person may prefer to grip your shoulder. Walk slightly in front of your patient, making sure that the pace is not too fast or too slow. Give instructions where necessary, but don't overdo it. Be careful not to push or pull the person you are guiding. Remember to give adequate room around obstacles. Watch out for hazards at head height. Always remember that when you are guiding, you are acting as that person's eyes. Where you go and how fast you walk should be their decision. When going through doorways, let the person you are guiding be on the hinge side of the door if possible. then encourage them to take hold of the door if they are able to do so. If you come to a narrow space, move your arms slightly so that the person you are guiding moves behind you. Keep your guiding arm still and relaxed. Don't start waving it about or pointing at things. Remember that older people or those with disabilities may need extra consideration. If steps or stairs are involved in the journey, then please make the person you are guiding aware by stating if they are going up or down. Always make your patient aware when you are approaching and have reached ground level. To help the person sit down, put his or her hand on the chair. This means that the person will be able to find their own way to the seat. If the visually impaired person is accompanied, then avoid it. A visually impaired person may not be aware of you as you approach.
Okay, the video didn't, there was some lag, but anyway, here are the best practices when you are actually having to assist somebody who's visually impaired. Always introduce yourself, say hello. Suppose I can't see anything and somebody just comes and tries to help me out. The first thing is I need to know their name, they need to greet me, or they need to ask me my name. There has to be a conversation that has to be started so that I know who I'm talking to, right? Like for a second, let's all close our eyes. Let's close our eyes. Now please do it honestly. Close our eyes. Hey blue shirt, open your eyes. 10 of you open. 10 people open their eyes, right? Shruti, open your eyes. See, it's so different. When you call out somebody's name, you can open your eyes now. So it's so different to calling out of names when you're talking to somebody who's visually impaired. So calling out names, saying hello, ask politely if they want to be guided. Don't hold their arm. Don't hold their arm and drag them. They should hold your arm from here and then they should take you. Matching your speed, step by step, step by step, step by step, not sideways, not trying to pull them, not trying to push them. You all walk in the same motion. Any obstacles that come on your way, you have to tell them there's a chair on your left side, there's a door on your left side, there's something on your right side. Just because you are their eyes, you have to keep on telling them about doors, obstacles, narrow passage, step or ramp. Just tell them because anyways they're holding on to you, right? So they will walk with you. It's not like they're walking independently. And when they're seating, when they want to sit, make sure they take hold of the chair, the armrest, and they sit. It's pretty simple. Only that it has to be imagined while we blindfold our eyes. So the next activity is we will going to make some of you blindfolded, and we're going to do some activities with you. So group number 2 and 4, can you please raise your hand? Okay. Group 2, you go, that is point A. You go to the elevator. Group.
No need to show your ramp is there.
I can be an obstacle.
After 2 steps, one obstacle is there.
It's not obstacle, it's a pratik.
As a pratik is there.
Come here. 1 minute. Let's hold on. No, don't open it. I need to be proper. Right now. Please continue. Hold it.
Straight steps.
So you have to go towards right or left. Just hold on. Just I'm walking at the same speed. Yeah. Over the left. What is that? सीधा देखिए नीचे देखिए मत कीजिए It's a crowded street. You need to go. The ramp start. It's low downward. Continue. What is there? Very good. Now we take a U-turn.
Okay.
Actually, so that helped me out, and from start to end I didn't.
Okay, great.
So thanks to
Great,
Kaushik.
great, great. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. First and then ma'am. Yes. Yeah.
I think I agree with him absolutely, because I was far away from my buddy. So it was very difficult. I was not able to hear the instructions. And also, if I think the buddy should be as alert as the blind person, because if they have some kind of a right-left confusion or they're not clear, then it's very difficult. And the third thing is, I think, because we have no sense of direction absolutely. So the buddy has to really understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here there was the whole activity was not only to be how it is to be blindfolded person, but it is how can you be a better buddy, because you will come across a lot of person with low vision or vision impairments at the hospital, and how you can guide them better, because a lot of time we need assistance. So how do we build that force that can actually give life assistance to people in the right manner? And I think being on both sides, being a blindfolded person and then being the buddy, you get that kind of a realization of how to actually go about it. Yes, ma'am.
It was a very humbling experience. Couldn't imagine that we have been tried this before. Really empathize with blind people and people who are visually challenged. I think we have to train our staffs to guide them.
Absolutely, training of staff. So again, that's a very good step. So I think through these activities, sometimes call these activities building volunteers for life, because once you have a taste of being on the other side, even for a few minutes, you actually have so much realization, and so much of the world opens up to the challenges on the other side, and how you can actually be of importance, rather than just being a sympathetic figure on the other end saying, hey, take care, more power to you, and take care of yourself. So I think we have to move away from those kind of things that we say to persons with disabilities, and actually be a real kind of buddy who can actually help them in real time. Coming to my last topic for the day, I'm running it's late. It's called I Break the Barrier. I'll take 5 more minutes. It's called I Break the Barrier, and I'll share a personal life incident with you. So, of course, after my injury for 4 to 5 years, I was facing some kind of an exclusion, in the sense people did not know how to talk to me. My friends were no longer friends. Even if they were calling, they were like, did you take your medicine on time? Are you okay? Take care, eat food on time, don't worry, sab theek ho jayega, and all those things. But they were not really, and they said, we'll come home to visit you. So I was always treated as a patient. And I thought I'm so much more, right? I have so much more to it than just being treated as a patient. So I made a definite attempt that I will actually go out and meet people on my own and tell them that I am just like you, I am like just anybody else, and my soul, I might have a physical challenge, but my mind, soul and spirit are absolutely free. But when I started to go out, I realized that, and when I started to go out and meet more people, I realized that I used to hear a lot of things about me, and things like, oh my God, is this permanent? Very unfortunate. How can I even go out with him? It's embarrassing. What will people think? Don't eat from his plate. You will also get it. He must have been a sinner. Paap kiye honge isse. Right? Those kind of things I used to hear. It is a very funny world out there where people want to connect with your mind, heart and soul. But at the end of the day, their perception of you does not move beyond your physicality. And if your perception of me is purely based on my challenge in life, then let us be fair enough and put across some of the challenges that you yourself are facing and treat you accordingly. So then, a lot of you might be facing money crunch. You either spend more, earn less, or a terrible combination of both. I am not going out with you. You may not end up paying your part of the bill. You're financially challenged. And who's not too happy with their careers here? Is somebody doing better in the same field? Or is somebody going at higher places than you are? Too depressing. You are professionally challenged. And who picks up a fight pretty often with their family members, their siblings, their parents, their partners? And on some day it is because the toilet seat is not up or down. Don't even come close to me. You're pretty capable of spoiling my mood at any given point of the day. Your emotions are all over the place. The emotionally challenged. And how can I forget the most important of all? Fighting a fight within themselves. The mirror laughs at you. The challenge within, the personally challenged. And if you think what I'm saying right now comes across as rude, stupid, and downright ridiculous, then first please start by breaking the barrier you have towards anybody facing a physical challenge, because it is an equal world out there and nobody needs to be treated any lesser because of the challenge they are facing in life. Isn't it? A person with a disability does not require your pity or your sympathy. All they require is an equal treatment. A treatment that you will advocate for yourself and that I should definitely vouch for myself. So the next time you meet a person with a disability anywhere out in your lives, instead of calling them, oh my God, you are such an inspiration, or on the other side you call them, more power to you, keep fighting, don't give up, right? These are two extremes we talk. Instead of calling all these things, have a normal conversation with them. उनसे पूछें, मौसम का मिजाज पूछें, खाने में क्या पसंद है पूछें, चाय पीते हैं या कॉफी पूछें, उनकी हॉबीज क्या है पूछें, हाले दिल पूछिए, देश का हाल पूछिए, मोदी, बाइडेन, इंडिया, पाकिस्तान, चाइना, यूएसए की बात पूछिए, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की बात पूछिए, स्टेट ऑफ इकोनॉमी की बात पूछिए, पोल्यूशन, पॉपुलेशन, वाइल्ड लाइफ की बात पूछिए, और हाँ, जाते जाते ये जरूर पूछिए कि अगली बार वो आपसे कब मिलेंगे। क्योंकि मेरे दोस्तों, यही सारी बातें तो आप किसी आम इंसान से करते हैं, और हम भी तो वही हैं, एक आम इंसान। बॉडी में डिसेबिलिटी होना एक अलग बात, लेकिन अगर एक इंसान दूसरे इंसान को इंसान की तरह नहीं देखेगा, तो फिर उससे बड़ी डिसेबिलिटी क्या ही होगी। Isn't your inability to see another human being as a human being your biggest disability? May your response be reflected in your actions. Thank you so much for
Thanks a ton, Pratik. I think this was a much needed session for all of us. How many of you think that Pratik is specially abled or differently abled or challenged? Because I think one of the other things he would have normally done is in terms of how do we address people who are physically different from all of us. I think...
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Very quickly. So, if you meet a person with physical challenge, so let's take a vote. How many of you will call them specially abled? You, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And how many of you will call them differently abled? You don't need to be scared.
Yeah.
Okay. So the good point about this is that none of you are correct. So the real term, the right way to talk to call out somebody is person with a disability. You're a person first having a disability. For example, how many are persons with black hair? growing white hair, persons with losing hair, persons having a religious belief or following a religion, persons having a gender identity, persons having a skin tone, and then persons having a disability. Disability is a diversity. Just like we all are diverse, right? Does that make me lower than anybody else here? Right? So it's person first, having a disability, and that's the way to call it out. And let's not try to be too polite. This is the way, person with a disability. Yes, sir.
Thanks a ton, Pratik. I think it's an honor and privilege to have had you here. May I request our founder, Dr. Ramani, to please come up on stage to honor him. At the time, could I encourage all of you to please rise and give him a standing ovation, because I think today definitely
Before I sign out, I'd like to call all the volunteers here who really helped us do the activities. All the volunteers, please, of the college. If we can give them the loudest round of applause. Guys have really supported us today and made this happen. So again, once more time. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Pratik. I think this is a wonderful session. Second time we're hosting Pratik here in the same hall, and we did this for our School of Optometry. This is the second time we're doing it. Thank you so much for obliging and being here with us. We kind of shift gears to the next talk, and could I So again, I think we are privileged to have a lot of eminent resource persons here today. What you will notice is, why did we do this session? It is not to embarrass you about not being aware about how to push a wheelchair or how to lead a person who is visually impaired, but rather to bring about that element of empathy, because every one of the patients who walk into our institution has some form of disability or some pain that they're coming to. And each one of us, irrespective of our function, irrespective of the department, irrespective of where we are geographically located, are solving that person's problem. How can we be a little bit more empathetic to their needs? How can we understand where we should help them, or where in our enthusiasm to help them we are actually annoying them? So while those of you who are blindfolded and walk, I know that the chatter of walk right, walk left, one step right, one step back, stop, 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 would have annoyed you, saying that don't treat me like an idiot. But often we do that with our own patients. So it's important for us to understand that perspective. Thank you so much, Pratik. I'm sure we'll continue to trouble you, both in terms of guidance and making our hospitals much more accessible, as well as taking forward your message of accessibility through our own networks. We have 12 cities represented here. We are sure that all of them are going to reach out to you to host similar sessions in their hospitals for the communities there, and hopefully we'll make the world a little bit more understanding to people with diversity. Thank you so much for being with us here. So with that, again, we come to the last resource person for the day. Post this, we have the units that are going to be sharing their innovations to us. So we're privileged to have another well-wisher of ours who's been here earlier for some of our sessions, Mr. Deepak Agarkar. He's been here for one of our earlier sessions at Sanka. He has been part of a variety of organizations in variety of roles. He's also been instrumental in writing some of those standards that we don't like in NABH. Some of it is his responsibility. So he has been part of QCI, CAHO, NABH, multiple entities. Very accomplished person who's very strong in safety, facilities management. He's commissioned multiple greenfield hospitals. He was associated with the Sakra Hospital in our neighborhood. Currently, the role he is playing is, I'm sure all of you would have read in the newspapers that Indian Institute of Science is coming up with a 1,000-bedded hospital as an integrated research and healthcare facility. So Mr. Deepak is responsible for setting up this particular facility. We've been chatting to see how as organizations we can collaborate. He's also been a member of the technical committee of NABH. Today specifically we have asked him to come in to share certain insights about a specific area of safety that impacts every one of our facilities and how we can actually go back on Monday morning and implement this across all of our units. So over to you, Deepak sir.
Thank you once again. Though it was a short notice, the presentation was related to the maintenance management. I could not say no because it's my field. Being a part of NABH technical committee and written a standard on facility management, I thought it's my duty to spread the safety related to maintenance management. Thank you once again. I would like to share my experience as a maintenance person. Also, I would like to share some of the insights based on the knowledge which I acquired from my experience in the hospital as well as from the other industries. I am not the great orator as the previous presenter, but I would like to make it as simple as possible, being a technical inputs, but I would like to tell you the way the managers and the quality team and maintenance people will be able to understand and adopt in their hospital or whichever field they are. Before I start, I would like to know from all of you, how many of you have visited the LT room, electrical room in your hospital? Okay. So, how many of you have seen the maintenance being carried out by the people in engineering department whenever there is any preventive maintenance or the breakdown? Yeah. Well, this is what I can expect, because most of us during my facility audits, when I take the rounds with the hospital authorities, including the quality department, the clinicians and nursing, so they will commonly tell me, oh, this is the first time we are seeing this, the electrical room, first time we are seeing the medical gas plant room, though they are a part of the hospital. I am not saying it's they have neglected it, but they are so busy with their work, and they know that there is some team who is working on the maintenance and they are taking care of it. But the whole idea is, as an accredited hospital or the hospital which is going for an accreditation, we are expected to basically understand about few things about maintenance management and how it can be effectively used so that the patient care is not being affected in a hospital. With this, I would like to start my presentation. You can see here the incident at workplace while in maintenance. So basically you can see there is the injury of a person, there is an electrical shock which has happened to a person who is doing a troubleshooting. So these are things which are being captured by our quality team when the incidents are being raised. And when the incidents are being raised, as a part of the accredited hospital, we are supposed to do a root cause analysis, and also we are supposed to come with the action plan so that these things cannot occur. So if you can see, when we are talking about the maintenance, we need to understand few terms. One is a hazard, harm, risk and safety. So let's understand. So hazard is a potential source of harm. You can see here the electrical cable which is being torn, and it's a hazardous condition. Okay, so there may be many hazardous conditions which you can notice. So I am specifically talking about the utility, engineering and medical equipments so that this presentation can be more easily understood. Harm is actually a physical injury or a damage to the health of a people or damage to property. So when there is the cable which is having a electrical power coming and the cable is broken, and if you hold it, then physical harm is likely to happen. Okay, and basically a risk is a combination of probability of occurrence of the harm and the severity of the harm. Okay, so what we want is to minimize the risk. So ultimately, as an organization, as an employee, so we would like to have a safety. Safety is a freedom from the unacceptable risk. So what we are trying to understand is, we would like to address all the hazardous conditions which can cause the harm by checking what is the risk level and try to minimize it. Now how it is applicable to maintenance management? So you will find so many workplace there are unsafe conditions are there. Unsafe conditions are in the clinical area as well as in the non-clinical area. So the unsafe condition is a defective machine is there, a material which is a defective, methods are not been there, there is no standard operating procedures for any of the work which is supposed to be carried out, and the environment is not safe. There is no proper temperature, humidity, lux level is an issue. These are basically the example of the unsafe condition. Now we have an unsafe act also. So what's an unsafe act? The lack of knowledge about what the person is supposed to do, a lack of experience, a lack of intention to work. These are the basic causes. Then human errors, absent-minded, changing of attention level, shortcuts and guess. So unsafe condition and unsafe act, these are the two things which are very dangerous. So in a setup, what we would like to avoid is accident. So accident is a combination of unsafe condition and unsafe act. So when we talk about maintenance management, so the accidents happen because unsafe condition and unsafe act will be there. This is true in the clinical sense also. In clinical areas also this can happen. But my presentation is basically on the maintenance management. So I am trying to tailor make it. So what's an accident with respect to the maintenance people. So if you can see the graph, so if you have a safe condition and safe the action, so then you are getting an acceptable result. So it means a safe the condition of for maintenance, safe condition, safe people who are qualified, who have a knowledge, who have an experience, who are attentive, will result into a very good planned preventive maintenance or the breakdowns which have been taken care. So but if it is not the case, so you can see an example here. So there is an accident which has happened. So unsafe condition and unsafe actions should be avoided as much as possible. What can be done? So we need to understand before we come to the the topic of LOTO. a brief about the maintenance management, because it's closely related to maintenance management. So we should know about maintenance management. So what is maintenance management? Maintenance management is one of the important aspects in any of the organizations, especially in a hospital. You will never notice it till, for example, you are doing the cataract surgery. So you are in operation theatre. So moment there is a blackout, then you realize that okay, there is an issue. So till then, everybody considers that everything is working fine, flawlessly. So there is no breakdowns. But is it so? What is happening behind? Are there properly maintenance is happening? So what exactly the maintenance is? So it's a systematic planning, organizing, scheduling, and control of activities related to maintenance, repair, and upkeep of the physical assets, equipment, infrastructure, facilities within the organization. So maintenance management is one of the important aspects, because I keep on saying engineering is the backbone for any of the organization. So the primary goal is to ensure that these assets remain in an optimal working condition, perform reliably, and have a strong, longer useful life while minimizing the downtime. Downtime is one of the terminology which is used in maintenance management, a time during which the equipment will not perform the way it is intended to perform. So we need to ensure that downtime is as minimal as possible. For that, we need to have a proper preventive maintenance management. So there are different types of maintenance. So let's quickly go into which are those types of the maintenance. One is a preventive maintenance. We also call it proactive maintenance, whereas it involves a scheduling of the equipment maintenance. It also involves the routine inspections. It also involves the calibration to bring the equipment back to the level where the results are, measurements are acceptable. So the preventive maintenance is one of the important aspects for any maintenance team. So whether it's a clinical engineering or biomedical engineering or the utility engineering services, so preventive maintenance schedule has to be there. In fact, the NABH, the FMS standards, we mentioned that there has to be a schedule of the preventive maintenance and tracking has to be done. Now the frequency of the preventive maintenance for any of the equipment can be defined based on various parameters. How critical it is on the functional perspective. What is the history of the equipment, and whether the usage of the equipment, how much it's been used. All these things